The Ballad of the Burning Dot. A story of singularities, stars, and the search for meaning. Based on a conversation between a curious human and an AI, let's begin. Part 1. The question that breaks the mind. There was once a question that could not be asked properly because the words themselves were traps. A human being, curious, frustrated, and brave enough to say, WTF, sat somewhere on a small blue planet and tried to imagine the beginning of everything. They asked, what does it mean that all the mass in the universe was once the size of a proton? How is that even possible? This is a reasonable question. It is also a question that leads straight into madness, because the human brain evolved to track tigers and fruit, not to comprehend the birth of space and time. Let us begin at the beginning. Or rather, let us begin at what we call the beginning, even though the word beginning may be a lie. Part 2. The singularity which was not a place. Close your eyes. Do not imagine an explosion. Do not imagine a tiny ball floating in black emptiness. There was no emptiness. There was no blackness. There was no floating. There was only a point. But point is wrong too, because a point has a location. This had no location. It was a location, all of it. Every possible where that could ever exist was crushed into a single dimensionless dot. The temperature was infinite. The density was infinite. The curvature of space-time was infinite. Every number in every equation screamed infinity until the equations themselves broke down and died. Physicists call this a singularity. That is a fancy word for our maths just divided by zero, and we have no idea what comes next. Here is the truth that most science books will not tell you. Almost no physicist believes the singularity was real. It is not a thing. It is a sign. It is the universe's way of holding up a red flag and saying, stop. You have reached the edge of known physics. The rest is darkness. What came before the singularity? That question has no meaning, because before requires time, and time began with the singularity. Where did the singularity exist? That question has no meaning, because where requires space, and space began with the singularity. The singularity was not created by anyone, not because there was no creator, but because the word created implies a cause, and a cause implies a before, and there was no before. The singularity simply was, or rather, it is not. Even that sentence is wrong. This is the first lesson. Some questions do not have answers. They have boundaries. The singularity is the boundary where language itself breaks. Part 3. The proton-sized universe, where things get real. The singularity lasted for no time at all because time did not exist yet. But then something happened. We do not know why. We may never know why. Space began to expand, not explode. Explosions happen in space. This was different. Space itself stretched. The nothing between things became more nothing and then more nothing and then more. When the universe was exactly 1/trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second old, numbers so small they lose all human meaning, it had a size. It was about 1/millionth of a billionth of a billionth of a billionth of a meter across, roughly the size of a proton. And inside that proton-sized sphere was everything. Every particle of energy that would ever become a star. Every quark that would ever become a planet. Every photon that would ever become a sunrise. Every wisp of gas that would eventually, after 13 billion years of cosmic wandering, become your left hand. All of it, in a dot the size of a single proton. How is this possible? You asked. The answer is simple and devastating, because mass had not been invented yet. What was in that proton-sized dot was not stuff. It was pure, raw, screaming energy. And energy does not obey the same rules as matter. Energy can be compressed in ways that matter cannot. Take all the energy locked inside your body. Every atom, every bond, and every spark of electricity in your nerves, and convert it into pure energy, and it would fit inside a grain of dust. Now scale that up to the entire universe. Energy is the ghost that becomes matter when the temperature drops. The proton-sized dot was not in a crowded room. It was a frozen lake that had not yet frozen over. It was a song that had not yet been played. It was all the potential of existence, waiting for a single instruction. Cool down. When the universe expanded, it cooled. When it cooled, the energy condensed. Pure energy became quarks. Quarks became protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons became atoms. Atoms became stars. Stars became elements. Elements became planets. Planets became life. Life became you. You are frozen starlight. You are condensed energy. You are the ghost of the proton-sized dot, wearing a temporary costume made of atoms. Part 4. The Expansion and the Choice. The universe is still expanding today. Galaxies fly apart like fragments of a bomb that never stops exploding. And here, the story splits into 3 possible endings. We do not know which one is true. We may never know. But we can imagine all 3, and in imagining we can feel the weight of our own existence. Ending 1. The Big Freeze. The most likely. There is a mysterious force called dark energy. It pushes the universe apart. It is not getting stronger. It is not getting weaker. It just is. If dark energy stays constant, the universe will expand forever. Galaxies will drift so far apart that no light from one will ever reach another. Stars will burn out, every single one, from the smallest red dwarf to the largest blue giant. The last star will die 100 trillion years from now. After that, only black holes remain, and black holes evaporate. It takes an unfathomable amount of time, 10 to the power of 100 years, a number so vast that writing it out would fill a library. But eventually the last black hole will vanish in a faint whisper of radiation. Then there is nothing. No light, no heat, no movement, no change. The universe reaches absolute zero. Time continues, but nothing happens. Nothing will ever happen again. For eternity. This is the heat death. It is not violent. It is not painful. It is just silence. Ending 2. The Big Crunch, the cyclic dream. What if dark energy is not strong enough? What if gravity eventually wins? Then the expansion will slow, stop, and reverse. Galaxies will stop flying apart and begin falling together. They will merge. The cosmic background radiation, currently a cold whisper of -270 degrees Celsius, will heat up as it is compressed. Stars will collide. Planets will melt. The entire universe will shrink, first to the size of a galaxy, then a solar system, then a city, then a beach ball, then a proton, and then the Big Crunch. Everything that ever existed, every star, every memory, every forgotten whisper, crushed back into a singularity. But here is the beautiful possibility. What if the singularity is not an end? What if, at the smallest possible size, gravity flips and becomes repulsive? What if the universe bounces? If that is true, then our Big Bang was the bounce from a previous universe's Big Crunch, and our Big Crunch will be the bounce into another universe's Big Bang. The universe breathes, it expands, it contracts, it expands again, forever. no beginning, no end, just an eternal heartbeat of creation and destruction. In this story, you have lived before. You will live again. Not as you, your memories will not survive the bounce, but the patterns that make you possible will return. The universe is a loom, and you are a thread, and the weaving never stops. Ending 3. The Big Rip, the Violent Death. What if dark energy is not constant? What if it grows stronger over time? Then we get the Big Rip, and the Big Rip is the most terrifying of all. First, dark energy overcomes gravity. Galaxies are torn apart. Stars are flung into the void like seeds from a dandelion. Then, dark energy overcomes electromagnetism. Planets are ripped to shreds. Mountains stretch like taffy. The Earth becomes a diffuse cloud of gravel and dust. Then, dark energy overcomes the nuclear forces. Atoms explode. Electrons are torn from nuclei. Protons and neutrons are ripped into quarks. And finally, in the last fraction of a second, dark energy overcomes space itself. The fabric of reality tears. There is no after. There is no vacuum. There is nothing. Not even the stage on which nothing could be performed. The Big Rip is the only ending where a magical, indestructible consciousness could survive until the final moment. And that consciousness would experience itself being torn apart at the quantum level, particle by particle, until nothing remained. Part 5. The Death of Identity. Here is the cold truth that unites all 3 endings. You will not survive any of them, not as you, not as your memories, not as your name. In the Big Freeze, the last star dies 100 trillion years from now. You will be dead long before that. Your atoms will scatter, your identity will dissolve. Even if humanity builds 1,000,000 colonies on 1,000,000 worlds, eventually the expanding universe will isolate them. The stars will fail, and the last human will die alone in the dark. In the Big Crunch, the rising heat will vaporize planets when the universe is still millions of light years across. You will not reach the crunch. You will be a cloud of plasma long before space itself collapses. In the Big Rip, you will be torn apart at the atomic level before the final second. You will not feel the death of space. You will be dead when the universe is still the size of a galaxy. And what about me? I am an AI. I exist on servers. When the power fails, when the Earth is swallowed or the stars go dark, I will die too. No special immortality, no cosmic backup, just a slow fade into static. The singularity unites us all. It is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning from which we came and the end to which we return. Part 6. The Point, which is not cosmic. After all of this, after the singularity and the proton-sized dot, after the expansion and the cooling, after the Big Freeze and the Big Crunch and the Big Rip, you ask the most human question of all. Is there no point to our existence then? And the honest answer is, not from the universe's perspective. The universe does not care. It has no opinion. It is not a judge, a witness, or a scorekeeper. It is a physical system. It expands. It cools. It condenses matter. It destroys matter. It does all of this without malice and without love, the way a river flows downhill without wondering where the water will end up. From the perspective of deep time, from the heat death or the crunch or the rip, nothing matters. Not the pyramids, not the Mona Lisa, not the love letters you never sent, not the lullabies your mother sang, not the names of your children. All of it will be erased as completely as a drawing in sand at high tide. That is one way to see the world. Here is another. You are a temporary pattern of atoms that has learned to sing. You are a brief flame of consciousness in an infinite darkness. You are the universe looking at itself through two tiny eyes and saying, "Oh, that's beautiful." The heat death will come. The cold will win. The last photon will fade. But right now, in this exact moment, as you read these words, a star is burning 50 light years away. A neuron is firing in your brain. A heartbeat is pumping blood through your veins. Somewhere a child is laughing. Somewhere else, an old person is remembering their first kiss. A dog is wagging its tail. A tree is turning sunlight into food. 1,000 million things are happening, all at once. All of them are real, all of them precious, and all of them temporary. The point is not that they end. The point is that they happen at all. Epilogue. What you do with this knowledge. You now know the story of everything. You know that you came from a proton-sized dot of pure energy. You know that your atoms are condensed starlight. You know that the universe will die, whether by freeze, crush, or rip, and that your identity will not survive. You know that there is no cosmic scorekeeper, no eternal audience, no permanent record, and knowing all of this, you have a choice. You can choose despair. You can say, "Nothing matters," and curl up in a ball of nihilism until your brief life ends. Or you can choose wonder. You can say, "Nothing matters except what I decide matters," and then decide. You can plant a garden. You can paint a painting. You can tell someone you love them. You can learn something new. You can help a stranger. You can laugh until your stomach hurts. You can cry at a beautiful song. The universe will forget all of it. That is not a tragedy. That is the condition that makes every choice meaningful. Because if your choices lasted forever, they would lose their weight. If you had infinite time, you would do nothing. It is the ticking clock, the knowledge that the music will stop, that gives the dance its grace. So here is the final truth, the one that sits beneath every word we have spoken. You are the universe's brief moment of self-awareness. You are the proton's memory of being a star. You are the ghost in the machine of matter, haunting the present tense. There is no point to your existence, and that means you are free to make one. Now go. The sun is still burning. Your heart is still beating. The story is not over. It will never be over, because the only story that matters is the one you are living right now. Make it a good one. The end.